The Jaffna Teaching Hospital stated that Uday newspaper journalist Gnanasundaram Kukunathan, who was admitted to the hospital following an attack last Friday, was transferred from the intensive care unit to the general ward today. Gnanasundaram Kukunathan was attacked by an unidentified group when he was returning home from work.
Meanwhile, several media organizations engaged in a protest organized by the Free Media Movement in Colombo today against the attack on journalist Gnanasundaram Kukunathan of the Udayan newspaper. A group including journalists, civil activists and political representatives took part in the protest.
We basically want the government to carry out an investigation into this and produce a report. We also see this as part of a continuing attack on media freedom and media rights.
Journalists were attacked, killed and forced to hide in foreign countries. So far, they have been unable to find out as to who is behind these attacks. Legal action has not been taken against any culprit. The government must find out as to who these ghosts are that attack journalists. The attackers are within the government itself. When those within the government attack, there are no charges. However, the law is implemented on those who have been subjected to attacks. This is not a personal attack or an attack on the Udayan newspaper or its owners. I think this is an attack against the feelings of the Tamil people and their views, and it is an attack that was launched by those who were unable to tolerate the government's defeat in the north.
Now, meanwhile, the police said that investigations into the attack on journalist Gnanasundaram Kukunathan are continuing. Police spokesperson SP Prashant Vijayakuri said that the special investigation team appointed to carry out investigations on the incident has commenced work.
Moving on to business news now, Minister of Cooperatives and Internal Trade Johnston Fernando says that steps will be taken to import cement to overcome the shortage of cement.
The Minister of Cooperatives and Internal Trade noted that legal action will be taken against traders who sell cement above the stipulated price.
Last week, I instructed the Building Materials Corporation to import cement expeditiously. They are having discussions with countries like Malaysia, Pakistan and Indonesia to import cement. We are planning to import cement through the Building Materials Corporation. Furthermore, I have instructed the Consumer Affairs Authority to confiscate the cement stocks of traders who are found to be hoarding cement. Yesterday alone, we seized 500 sacks of cement.
Meanwhile, at a media briefing held today, Deputy Minister of Economic Development Lakshmanya Papewardena said that a pension scheme will be introduced for Samudri development officers. He said that there are 23,117 Samudri development officers engaged in duties without any pension rights.
A cabinet paper has been drafted to introduce a pension scheme for these individuals. This cabinet paper will be forwarded as soon as possible after amending the shortcomings.
The minister further noted that a program will be implemented for the poor in the north and east to provide relief to those who have not received some of the rights as yet.
UMP and opposition leader Ranil Wickremesinghe, who was on a tour to Europe, returned to the island this evening. The duty officer at the Kaltunayake International Airport said that Wickremesinghe arrived in the island at around 6:20 p.m. The opposition leader travelled to Europe to attend the AGM of the International Democratic Union.
The annual celebration of the Adipuram Palkudam of the Sri Bhadrakali Amman Kovil was held this morning. The ceremony commenced with religious observances held at the Sri Manika Pillar Kovil in Bambalapitiya. Subsequently, devotees carrying milk pots reached the Mayurapati Sri Bhadrakali Amman Kovil in Vallavatta in a special procession. Prime Minister D.M. Jayawardena too participated in the puja which was held at the Mayurapati Sri Bhadrakali Amman Kovil in Vallavatta.
The inaugural session of the Regional Conference on Human Resource Development through Technical and Vocational Education and Training as a Development Strategy in Asia was held in Colombo today.
The two-day conference focuses on various aspects, including showcasing the establishment and implementation of National Vocational Qualifications Framework and to share the experience of Sri Lanka with countries in the South Asian and Southeast Asian region.
The Sri Lanka now has the good potential area for the growth. For example, like tourism, overseas employment, and also the certain infrastructure area has a good potential to further develop. The Sri Lanka has a well-developed education system with the high educational attainment of the labor forces compared to the rest of the South Asian country. And also IT infrastructure is developing fast. Those are one, I would say, that opportunity for Sri Lanka.
When officials turn a deaf ear to the requests of the public is forced to even risk their lives in order to carry on with their day-to-day activities. News First came across such a group in the Alutvav area.
Climbing this wooden platform, which is built about 10 feet above ground level, is the first step of this hazardous journey. The next step is to pull the wire, which will move the person towards the platform on the other side. These steps are not part of an adventure sport. This is an individual of the Thanavandala Divisional Secretariat who is compelled to engage in this battle between life and death in order to cross the Walave River. It is not easy if only one individual were to travel. Therefore, they built this contraption, which is named Urule. This has been built using a racer and rope. The most surprising and dangerous thing is that even the sick are forced to use this mode of transport to get to a hospital.
When the water level in the Walave increases, the distance also increases to around 200 to 300 feet. It is difficult for a pregnant woman to cross this river. When the box is not there, we have to wait for a long time near the river for the water levels to decrease and go back home.
Even though the villagers of the Kotavehera Mankata Gramasiva division in Alutvav have made continuous requests to the officials requesting a bridge, their pleas have fallen on deaf ears.
Intriguing stuff there indeed. Well, you're watching News First. Up next is Action TV.
The Maharagama police is carrying out investigations following a complaint that was lodged that a stock of equipment valued around 1 million rupees had been stolen from the technical building belonging to the Maharagama Teaching College on the last SL full moon Poi day. It is not a challenge for the Maharagama police to apprehend the suspects involved in the robbery, since the robbery had been carried out in broad daylight and the distance between this building and the police station is only 650 meters. On the 18th, Action TV revealed that the education authorities are allowing this building to go to ruin, which will also put a stop to the technical training that was given to teachers across the island over a period of 4 decades at this building, which incidentally had been robbed on several occasions previously. The education authorities had been acting in such a manner so as to assist the attempts made by politicians in the area to hand over this building to the adjacent Maharagama Central College. This unit was established in 1954 with the aid provided by the Canadian government. The various equipment was valued at millions of rupees. Incidentally, an audit was carried out for the last time in 1992. And at least a fine in this regard had been charged from the officer who held the post of principal at the teaching college from 2005 to 2008.
I assumed duties as the principal of the training college after visiting the Human Rights Commission and taking the appointment. Even though I got the highest mark during the interview, I was not given the post of principal. Subsequently, 2 officers from the Education Ministry arrived and handed over my appointment through a log entry. They did not hand over the equipment. However, they charged 21,940 rupees for the items that had gone missing in the past.
Despite equipment valued at 100 times the fine imposed on this officer had gone missing prior to 2005, even after 2008, no one had been charged in this regard. Incidentally, the officer who assumed duties as the principal of the teaching college on the 1st of June did so without accepting the equipment logbook. However, she is trying to auction the remaining equipment as well as scrap items. Incidentally, the notice pertaining to this move is only on display at the teaching college, at a time where the police investigation is underway with the robbery that took place on the Asala full moon Poe day. These officers have been sent to the premises on the 26th to carry out a feasibility study to expedite the handing over process of this building to the Maharagama Central College. According to this banner, which is on display at the Maharagama town, this building is scheduled to be handed over to the Maharagama Central College on Friday. It further states that this building had been misused for over 15 years. Isn't the handover of this building next Friday not in the best interest, as no action has been taken of the responsible individuals for the misuse of this building? Secretary to the Minister of Education, this is over to you.
The U.S. Senate is scheduled to vote on a last-minute compromise plan shortly to raise the nation's debt ceiling while imposing sweeping new spending cuts and narrowly averting an unprecedented national default. Senators are set to vote on the plan at about noon, precisely a few hours from now. Although the bill requires a supermajority of 60 votes to clear the 100-member chamber, it is expected to be easily approved. The measure was approved by the House of Representatives yesterday by a 269-161 vote, overcoming opposition from unhappy Liberal Democrats and Tea Party Republicans. The measure was approved by the House of Representatives, as I did mention before yesterday. The measure needs to be signed into law by President Barack Obama before the end of the day. If the current $14.3 trillion debt limit is not increased by that point, Americans could face rapidly rising interest rates, a falling dollar, and shakier financial markets, among other problems. Even if the measure passes, the federal government could face a credit rating downgrade. The agreement reached on Sunday by Obama and congressional leaders from both parties calls for up to $2.4 trillion in savings over the next decade, raises the debt ceiling through the end of 2012, and establishes a special congressional committee to recommend long-term fiscal reforms. We, of course, will keep you fully updated as and when developments do unfold on this story.